Hello, everyone. This is Dion Slow Cole, and this is my addition to my week three resubmission for my presentation on my app project for my parking lot app that I wanted to develop and create. Um, with the help of the professor going through this, helped me figure out why the problem that I was having with my loop and everything, and why I was getting it returning so many times um, in the console and into my table that I had going on. So went in with the API and set our data that we got from our API into another array, so that way we can easily go through and parse that information out. And did the same thing for my second API that I had, where it set that to an array and loop through that. And for this particular one, which is the first API for venues, when we send this over, we go through this loop right here, this for loop, to get this data one at a time to be able to send it into our storage into the table. And you see, we had to do it one at a time. Also, once we send it over for an insertion, because we get all of our our column names, and then we get all the values that we want to put into it. So we have to make sure that we iterate through each one of these values here one at a time, for each insertion to go one at a time into that, which was very unique with doing. And that worked with conversations and explaining everything. That was fascinating to see how that all came together and pulled it out one at a time and send it over to the read, which didn't have to change too much on the read because it kept all that information the same, and it just pretty much parsed it out and everything, and going, and if it was a Android, if it's an iOS device, it sends it over to there. And right now I have it going to where it goes to our to the iPad, the iOS device, because I wasn't able to get the API up and running for the Google key. I tried to put it into the TI app XML, and that kind of crashed everything. So I scrapped it and started all the way back over and cleared it out, just so I can make sure that it works correctly before I try to play around with the Google API anymore. But here, when we run it, we get the venues that we want to look at for our view. We have our our table view that we set up. Then we go in, we use another API that we pull to be able to go ahead and get the venues once it's clicked on, and show where it's at on the map that we have set up for this, and go from there. So it's pretty cool to see how everything is coming together with this, as you can see here with the map that I have. You can see we have to require that map module, and we go in. We have to create an annotation for that. We give it all of this we move the places info that I have from our read. We not read into from the home page. We send that into our function, our venue map function, and catches it. So then that way we can parse through all the information that we want to get into, and put the latitude, longitude there, give it a name and a title, and an annotation and everything. And then we're able to click on that, and also set up a view, a search, just so that the user would be able to go back and close the window out and look for another venue that was around if they wanted to with that. And it leads, all this leads from, if there are no locations that are able to be found, which we have here in our API. If locations equals 0, then we want to run all this down here. But if we're able to find a location around the device, then we run the API, this API here, which is pretty much our parking lot API. And we go in and we get the data. There we go. We send that data over into the same thing We send that data over into local storage. We have to loop through that also because we're returning numerous items and numerous objects in that. And then we send this over to read it and put that into our table. And once we go to our table, then we are able to pull up our second map that will show exactly where you are in relation to the venue, the parking lot. We have it set up to where it'll give you a price and a number of spaces available and everything. And when I run it on the iPad, it's pretty cool to show everyone. The first part, where if there's a location that's around you, then it will definitely return something. And if we go through and we launch it for our first part, alert. Oh, I turned the Wi-Fi off, which is a problem if I would have had the Wi-Fi on. So we get the error there, which is cool because the error works. And knowing that, turn the Wi-Fi back on. Let's try and connect this thing in. We'll run it one more time. And here we go as we try to give it another go at it. So now, if there are some locations near us, it will return what locations there are near us. If not, then we'll get some venues that are near us. So as we run it and we see, oh, it comes back that there is a location that's near us. According to the little annotation of the pin mark, there's only one. When we click on it, it gives us our location, which is preferred parking lot, and it's $11, and they have a number of 10 spaces available. So you're able to go in and look and see from there if you want to get on there. And to get out, you go here. And the thing we had to do and to change it so you can see the other part is if we change it, since we only got one returning, let's go into API and let's change this to a 1. And let's try and rerun it again just so that we can see if there were no available venues around, what we would get in return. As we see the other side of it, so that way the user would be able to notice, like, hey, okay, here are some places that are around me that I can look and see about going for parking spaces if I needed to park somewhere or find a good location to park near me. So as we go in and as we launch it again, it wants to find it. Yes, we'll allow it to get our data. And oh no, we went back. Okay, we still find that one. All right. Let's try this one more time. All right, for some reason it's not going over to our venue page as it should be. We can look in the console and we can see that Oh, it's 6 locations that are around us. Okay. So that's why that was giving it to us like that. There's 6 locations that are around us that it's pulling from. So that's strange. Gotta look at that one and see 6 locations. It only showed 1. But this time around, we should hopefully be able to see more than just we get to our venues and look around us and see our venues and where they are. And here we go. These are the venues that are near us now. And if we click on one of these, you'll see it brings up the location and the pin drop. And if we want to go back to there and we click on another one, and we just do that. So user can kind of see where they are in relationship to the actual pin drop of everything and go back out and go from there.